Hey guys. Awesome. So we are at my favorite part, skills. Skills are like mind blowing. I know everybody was so excited about like custom GPTs a while ago. Well, skills are custom GPTs on steroids. They're so customized to you, and they can turn a 2 hour long task into 2 minutes. And we're going to talk all about those now. So let me minimize my face a little bit and talk a little bit about skills versus projects. Okay, so we talked about why projects are important. If you are used to ChatGPT or something, or one-shot prompting, you have these prompt libraries that are you are a blah 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 with the role and all of that. We don't need that anymore because we have projects. Cool. All right. So let me tell you a story. When I started doing Claude, getting really involved in Claude, I was using projects for everything. So I had my strategic advisor, I had a LinkedIn generator, I had a social media marketing project, I had a sales project, I had a research project. Okay, the list goes on and on and on. But suddenly, soon I realized, wait, I'm in my LinkedIn project. I want to write a LinkedIn post. I gave it like my, brand voice and my how I talk, but it doesn't know anything from my strategic advisor project. So I'm like, wait a minute. So then I'm like, okay, so I have to go copy from my strategic advisor, put it in my, then I realized skills. So skills work across projects. So if you have projects for, say, your strategic advisor, maybe different clients, maybe different ops, etc. If you want to create a scope of work, if you turn that into a skill, that works across any project. Okay, that's the beauty of it. And it can be fully customized. It can call scripts. You can turn it into agents. I mean, the list goes on, but we're only covering the basics here. Tier 2 goes into more. But again, let's take a look here. Project scope. It tells you, what it's good for domain context. Like I said, client, projects, strategic advisor, things. It's your brain, how it works, what its role is, what its knowledge is, and then you chat, right? Okay. Skills, that is more global. It works across everything. Like I said, it is activated not by if you say, let's write a LinkedIn post about blah, 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 and you're in your strategic advisor project, it hears, let's write a LinkedIn post, and automatically activates that skill. So really, really cool stuff. You can think about how the ecosystem using all of these together can be really powerful. So now let's move on a little bit. Let's just talk very briefly about the anatomy of a skill. So a skill at its very basic form is just a markdown file. A markdown file is just a text file, and it says at the beginning, and it's a specific format called YAML, which we can get into, and I will put a resource and some example skills, but it basically just says, this is the title of the skill, this is the description of the skill, and this is when the skill should be called, right? So that is all in the skill.md, and that's really all you need. So in this project, in this course, Claude for Everyone, I've given you a bunch of free skills. Some of them are just the skill.md file. Some include references, but at the very basic, it really just needs to be a skill.md file. And it needs to be written like that. You can't say LinkedIn instructor skill.md. No, it needs to say skill, all caps, .md. My way of doing things that works for me is I put all my skills into a folder with the skill name. Because if you just have a whole bunch of files named skill.md, you're going to be pretty confused, okay? So I put a folder that's like LinkedIn generator. Inside, I put my skill.md that has the YAML, the description, everything that I said that tells the skill what to do, right? And so this is where you would put things like your templates for your, sometimes they go in Essence, sometimes they go in references. It really depends on your exact skill. But let's say you have instances of your brand voice, some of your LinkedIn posts that got the most views, some of like your best writing, all of that. That's what goes in these other folders, okay? your references, your scope of work template, you know, all of that goes in here. So you have one major folder that says what your skill is called. Call it whatever you want. You have your skill.md, which you can just upload that if you want. References, assets. You don't need any of these in green, but they are additional, you can add on. Anyways, that is the anatomy of a skill. To upload a skill to Claude AI, you would come over here and you would go to customize and you go to skills. And here you can see all the crazy amount of skills I have. I am a freak for skills. But so you can upload a skill. So the ones that I'm giving you in my course, you can just upload them as either a zip file, a compressed zip, or, and that's especially if they have templates in them or other reference documents, or you can upload the skill.md file directly. Remember to be uppercase and then the MD lowercase, right? So that's one way to create a skill. Other ways of creating skills, you can actually create them with Claude. So you can say, hey, let's create a skill. I want to create, you know, it takes me 45 minutes to create a scope of work. I have this template. I have to go in and manually fill it out every time. You know, 45 minutes to 5 minutes might not seem like a lot, but if you do that 100 times a year, that's a lot of time saved, right? And then you think about how many different skills, this can save a lot of time. All right, so anyways, back to it. So now we know what a skill is. And we've talked a little bit about context window, right? We don't want to blow up our context window. We don't want to hit our token limits. No, we want our skills to be also fairly lean. But the amazing thing about skills is there's this thing called progressive disclosure. So let's say you have 50 skills, kind of like I do. What happens is when Claude loads, it reads the title and the description, and that's it. And that's how it knows when to trigger. It doesn't actually pull the skill into your context window until it's actually triggered, and it doesn't pull the references into your context window until that's actually triggered. So, skills, awesome. They are amazing for your context window. Progressive disclosure only loads what's needed. It is awesome. Okay, I think that's everything there. And then some skills. You can build skills for every role. I mean, you just saw my system of how many skills I had. But just take a look here. I have a daily check-in orchestrator that pulls in from everything and tells me what I need to do, what I need to focus on. You can do this for your team. You can do this for project management. You can do this for legal. You can do this for engineering, product, for HR. Just take a look at all these document creation. Basically, you know, rule of thumb. Do you do it more than 5 times, or will you do it 10 or more? That's a skill. I mean, yeah. So I have a million great skills, a lot of free ones in my course. Love creating them custom for people. Love working with people to build them. Love building them for big companies. So yeah, I think that's all. And just a little quick peek into my skill system. Let me minimize my face again. This is just kind of what my Claude powered skills look like. In the morning, I do a daily check-in, and it asks me first, how are your stress levels? How did you sleep? You know, it sets me up for the day, like, because I also have it setting up my calendar. Do I need a light day? Did I had a rough night yesterday? Did my cat just pass away? Like, it knows, okay? There's a lot of details about my ecosystem here, right? So I can say, hey, can we do a pipeline visual dashboard? And it will do that. Like, it will show me my pipeline, where my revenue is coming in, where I need to focus my time, where I'm focusing too much of my time. I have, again, Notion, Airtable, all my things connected, OKR manager, client health score, like pre-call prep, call analyzer. I have a skill that I can practice sales calls with. I have one that judges my sales calls and tells me how good they are. Obviously, proposal generator, scope of work generator, all kinds of client onboarding. The list goes on, and then the sales pipeline. And then this is actually just the beginning. So this is one I've created for myself as a solopreneur, and this is actually the state that it was in maybe a month or 2 ago. It's grown since then, and it works in a matter of seconds, minutes. Instead of waking up being like, oh, I gotta check my calendar, I gotta check my what's going on. I say, let's do our Monday check-in, and I have everything. Where are we with this client? I have everything. Like, write me a scope of work for that call that I just got off on. Done. Send it to the client. Done. Like, anyways, imagine this at a team level. You really, really can save hours. So let me also just give you a little breakdown of, let's say you have 15 people on your team. Let's say average hourly cost per employee. All right, let's say you're kind of cheap. You're down at $60. All right, so you have 15 people on your team. Average rate is $60 an hour. And then look at these skills. All right, we have daily operations. We have sales and business dev. We have client delivery. Let's say something pre-call research and meeting prep. That goes from 45 minutes to 5 minutes. That will save you, with your 15 employees, that's almost 6 hours a month. Let's say you want all of these skills, and you can take a look at this on claudetraining.com if you want more info. Let's say you activate every single skill for a team of 15 at an hourly rate at an average of 60. That saves your team a lot of time and a lot of money. And that time that you're saving, you can be getting other clients. You can be doubling your revenue. Anyways, I get really excited when I talk about skills, which you can see, but it's awesome, and I highly suggest you start building them.